You headed to North Carolina Central, man, to meet Coach Moton, the GOAT, man, the GOAT himself, man. Um, you know, a little nervous. At the same time, not nervous. Got a little anxiety, a little bit. Free parking, appreciate that Central. Good looking out. Y'all treated me kindly. Appreciate y'all. Good looking out.
Rita, nice to meet you.
Bye. Welcome to 515 with Coach Moton. He's from Boston. Raised in Raleigh. Team USA Gold Medals winner. Attended North Carolina Central University. 4-time MEAC champion. And top 5 winning coaches ever. That's his background with basketball and all that. But what I'm impressed of is the development part of it. The man, Levelle is the man. You know, the guy that came from the projects and came out and made something out of himself. And that's what drew me to him. So, welcome to the podcast.
Say this, brother. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. So, I wanted to share with you, far as my platform is basically about development. Last season, we talked about gaslighting and we talked about mental health and stuff like that. And we have a lot of young guys in the city of Durham, in North Carolina, all over the world, what have you, who can use development from men. And the first person I thought of on my podcast to represent a good man to share some gems or what have you on this platform was you.
I appreciate it.
You know, so one of my first questions with you is, as a father, as a coach, you know, as just your whole makeup, like when you look in the mirror, what do you see?
That's a great question, man. I never had that with. Um, it's interesting because when I look in the mirror, I just see Puffy. I see the kid that my grandma gave a nickname Puffin to, and that's who I see. I see God's child. I see someone who still, even though they overcame and kind of escaped those challenging situations, I still see someone who's still rooted in those circumstances that's trying to help others. I see a father, I see a husband, I see a coach, I see a mentor, I see a businessman, I see a leader, I see a head of household, I see a chairman of a nonprofit. So I see everything, but as a human being, sometimes I don't see what I want to see at times neither. And I learned that the true essence of happiness is when you're able to look in that mirror, in that face, and that mirror can smile back at you. That's the true definition of happiness. It's not superficial things. It's not what you have. It's not what you can accumulate, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's just when you're looking in that mirror, can that face in that mirror smile back at you? And if so, then that's the true definition of happiness.
Appreciate that, Coach. Because I know every Monday I'm in a man's call, and basically it's just it's from guys who's in the hood, guys, pastors, all types of background on this call every Monday that I tune into, young, old, what have you. And that was one of the questions I had brought up in the chat. I said, I'm gonna ask you that because what it started for me was a sticky note, you know, and I took the sticky note at work and say, what do you see in the mirror? You know, and then every day when I come into work, every day I'm constantly staring at sticky note. What do you see in the mirror? What do you see in the mirror? Because especially with people with kids or what have you, I know you got kids or what have you. We constantly, as a man, constantly reflect on those things. You know, for a young guy like me, when it comes to male, like your age or what have you, I always want to know what's that core, like what is that it factor or what have you.
Yeah. I think, I think one of the most imperative necessities of life is for you to become your own biggest cheerleader. So many people have a difficult time with that. And I'm not going to sit here and say I came out of the womb that way, but I was, placed in some difficult environments. And again, as you mentioned and made reference to, I was a housing project kid, the real housing projects, not these kids that's trying to pretend like they come from something. Like, nah, I really came from it. And, there's something that was crazy, man, because our housing project was this huge 4-block radius. There was large fences around the housing projects. So instantly you already labeled as an outcast, a misfit, um, one of the have-nots. And then it's like this big fence is up here. So it's almost like they got you boxed in and caged in subconsciously, as if you don't belong with the rest of the world. Right. And so during that time, it wasn't cool to be poor. It wasn't cool to have one pair of shoes. It wasn't cool to be on welfare. It wasn't cool to struggle. And so as a young kid, you're constantly searching for acceptance outside of your housing projects, but you're seeing the feedback that you're receiving from people, and they're not even allowed to come to your neighborhood. They don't think you have anything. They don't think you're worth anything. And you get constant reminders because their neighborhood look like this, but your neighborhood has urine in all ways. Your neighborhood has broken glass everywhere. Your neighborhood has rats and roaches. It's a great neighborhood, but it's like, why don't anyone care enough to come in and fix our thing up? And so you start searching for validation. You start, just like any young man, your validation really starts because you want to be accepted amongst young girls, right? So everything you're doing is for them, and if they don't think you it, and your esteem level just kind of diminishes a little bit because you don't feel as if you it. So I wasn't accepted in no capacity, and so I had to become my own biggest cheerleader. I was forced to, become my own biggest cheerleader. And what I've learned from that is, like, once you become your own biggest cheerleader, you can look in that mirror and validate yourself. Once you become your own biggest cheerleader, you don't really need the outside acceptance. Because the thing about rock bottom is that when you're there, you get a full view that while you're down there. You know what I'm saying? And you'll never forget that. You see who is who, and we see what is what, and we see people for who they really are. And so you don't have to question anything because you remember the world as a place when you didn't have anything, when nobody really believed in you. And it makes you jaded, it makes you distrust, but it makes you have a sense of clarity and understanding. So support systems, I learned everybody wanted a support system, but people only support people that support themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like they don't want to support you. It's just people only support those who believe in themselves and support themselves. So people saw me on a daily basis working towards my dream. I ain't only said, I kind of manifested this thing by going to put in the word, because they put out words is dead. And so anyone will tell you, if they knew me as a kid, I was walking around that neighborhood with a basketball in my hand, drinking a soda or eating a popsicle or doing say cookies, whatever. I had something in one hand, but I had a basketball in the other. And so I kind of manifested it, man. And so people saw that I believed in myself. And I think as a whole, people started to believe in me because that energy manufactured that. And, the rest is here we are.
So I did my homework, and me and you kind of similar. You know, I was raised in Durham, and my mom's house literally is 5 minutes from here, which they call the South Side. And there was this big tree in the yard, right? And they had crazy shootouts all the time during that time. And so I would climb that tree all the way to the top. People say, "Oh my God, get that boy down before he fall, break his leg or whatever the case may be." And they used to watch over what have you. But what they didn't see, what you mentioned earlier, that getaway type situation, I saw Duke Chapel. So the whole time I climbed the tree, I was seeing Duke Chapel, and I'm erasing everything around me or what have you. And it took my whole vision of what's going around me and turned me into a visionary or what have you. And so one of the things that captivated me with something I did my homework on, seeing something you said was, you said you put your goals on a piece of paper and you would stick it on the mirror, right? So as a young kid, what I was doing is making my own quotes and stick them all over the wall. I mean, all over the place. And every time I wake up, I'm attaching myself with these principles or what have you, which is like self-development myself or what have you.
Absolutely.
So my question to you, Coach of Levelle, is this is okay, is that when I was climbing a tree and coming, standing in the hood and looking over and seeing the chapel or what have you, which I ended up working for that organization for over 11 years, you know, so that's the story by itself. But when I climbed and saw that chapel, what was your chapel when you was in the projects?
Man, I had different chapels. And it's crazy that you mentioned that, man, because, you know, one of the beautiful things that you just mentioned is, you know, when you're born in poverty, you know, J. Cole had a song, No Certain Thing Is a Life that's better than yours. Like there's beauty in the struggle, the ugliness in the success, right?
Yeah.
The beauty in the struggle is that you don't have it right before you, so you have to envision and imagine. And now you're forced to use your mind, you're forced to use your creativity. And as you mentioned, a visionary. And my mother told me when I was at a young age, she said, "You are a visionary." She said, the gift of being a visionary is that you can see things that other people can't see.
Yeah.
But the curse is you got to sit in it alone till they're able to see it. Right. And so in the hood, you have all of these valuable lessons, man. People can go to Harvard and Yale and North Carolina Central and Duke or wherever and get PhDs and be highly educated and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, nothing prepares you for life like the hood. A hungry stomach, an empty wallet, and a broken heart will prepare you for every lesson that you got to encounter in this world, right? And so my chapel it varied every single day. You know, when I was in Boston, you know, we lived right off Mass Ave in Roxbury and Orchard Park projects, man. And so, you know, it was difficult to see, but we could always see the city skyline from where I was. And I was fortunate because in that projects, there was four or five guys that was older than me that eventually became R&B sensations by the name of New Edition. So they became my chapel. They're like, oh, like people can make it out of here, right? So I was kind of like searching for that inspiration. I looked at my mama's birth certificate one day and I noticed that my mom and I have the same birthday, which I already knew, June 16th. We were born at the same time. And she was born in 1970. She was born in 1947. I was born in 1974. Yeah. All the numbers aligned. That's unreal, right? Wow. So that was my chopping at that moment. When we migrated to Raleigh, North Carolina, man, I remember going downtown. I ain't stayed too far from downtown, but I stayed 3 blocks from the governor's mansion. And it always dawned on me like, damn, this is the largest house in North Carolina, the most beautiful house in North Carolina. And then 3 blocks away, you have instant poverty. I was like, how does that even happen? You know what I'm saying? So that inspired me to become something, be a better version of myself. And it's crazy because I know God gave me this, and just from listening to your story briefly, he gave you this. The most important thing is a vision beyond your present set of circumstances. People in the hood can't get out the hood because they just so wrapped up into this 4-block radius so they have tunnel vision. But when you can lift your head up and see the long run and the long game, that forces you to take the stairs instead of the elevator. And you and I both know, like so many people in the hood, I ain't judging them, right? Because you had your opportunities, I had mine to take this elevator. And that's that fast money on the block or, you know, just doing something. And they ain't mad at it because you got to do whatever you need to do when you're in those situations to quiet the rumblings of your stomach. You know what I'm saying? It's only to judge a man for how he put food on his table, as long as he ain't hurting anyone. So, you know, I had so many chapels, man. I remember going downtown, and it was the weirdest thing. I would always see a bunch of pigeons around the park benches, and I always wanted to just feed the pigeons. I said, oh, that's dope. So I went and got a loaf of bread from my mom, and I went downtown to sit on the park bench, and I threw out like one piece of bread, and like one pigeon came, and then I threw another, and like 10 pigeons came. Before you know it, man, I looked up, it was like 100 pigeons around. They were just feeding the whole park of pigeons. But something interesting happened when I ran out of bread. They all left. You know what I'm saying? that was the ultimate life lesson for me to realize, okay, this is exactly a microcosm of life. When you don't have anything to give people, they out. But as long as you have something to give them, they're going to be around. So it's helped. That lesson I learned when I was 9 and 10 has helped me as a 50-year-old man who's sitting before you today, right? So those are the chapels and the analogies and the life lessons that now we could use from the hood and just apply to our daily life every single day.
When you see these young basketball players or what have you come in and to this program or what have you, and speaking about chapels or what have you, like they had several chapels and then you end up becoming their chapel. You know, how do you manage to like sit and look? I'll be honest with you. You're a good coach, an amazing coach, and what the magic, if I could have magic wand, and the magic wand for me, for you, is your development on the youth. So what are the type of things you try to develop, not only with your team, also with your kids, also with other people, you know, outside, just with kids at home or what have you, the whole community or what have you, like when you think about mentorship or when you think about like, hey, you know what, you know, this kid needs that, and let me make sure he gets here, like beyond, because that's going to affect him be 20 years from that.
Right. That's a great question, man. I just think what I try to do, as a coach is not overcomplicate things, right? Um, Again, going back to the projects, one thing, the projects get such a negative connotation, but I try to take all the positive about it. One thing the projects taught me is how to assess and evaluate character. Because you have a apartment building where you got the 200 people living in it. And right here is your home. Right here is a pastor. Above him is a drug dealer. Across from him is a pimp. That's a dope boy. That's a stick-up kid. That's a high school coach. That's a PE teacher. That you get to see every personality on a day-to-day basis, and nobody can fool you, right? Like you can't mask and come up and fool me. I don't fall for that too many times. So that's the first thing I tell these young men when they come here. Second thing I always want to do is develop a relationship and foster a relationship. That works two ways. But truth builds trust. So I got to look these young men in the eye at all times, despite the circumstances, despite how they feel, and tell them the truth. Whether it's a good truth or a bad truth, I got to tell them the truth every single day. They ain't gonna like it, but my job is not to be their friends, because in leadership you can choose two things. You can choose to be respected, or you can be choose to be liked. If you want to be liked, go sell some ice cream, go have a pizza party or whatever. I just want to be respected because I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here so when that ball stop bouncing, you can say, man, like he gave me the nuggets and the gems to go out here and be a productive citizen in society. Nobody cares about your feelings, right? Like nobody cares, because when that ball stop bouncing, you go into this world. Last time I checked, they ain't stop. Nobody asked you today, man, how you feeling? Yeah. And if so, it was just rhetorical. They ain't care, right? So you just got to figure it out. And as a man, that's just a responsibility that we accept. So I try to run my program the way my grandmother and my mother ran their homes, like with the core values of truth, of sacrifice, putting God first, and just being respectful at all times, and letting them have some pride in themselves. The pride in the name that they wear on the front of the jersey, pride in the name that they wear on the back of the jersey. Man, there's so many people. Like if you look at your family tree, you look at his family tree, I look at my family tree, man, we're extremely blessed, man. Yeah. Like our ancestors ain't have this opportunity. You follow what I'm saying? And so I gotta remind them of that sometimes. Cause they get here and start complaining and they ain't got this, they ain't got that, and yada yada yada. But my man, your great grandfather couldn't walk down the street and look someone in the eye that didn't look like you. Right. He couldn't drink out a water fountain and go to the bath. Like these are things we take for granted, and it's like, nah, man. So I just gotta reel you back in to reality. Once you understand the reality, then now you're better equipped to go out here and perform, not only on the basketball court, but in the classroom.
When you say reality, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I wrote a book called Dreams versus Reality. You have to do dreams, but keeping them on hold until you just see it.
Yeah.
And so the reality comes in when you live in your dreams in real time. I just started this podcast, what have you, like 2 years ago. I started out with audio last year, doing video this year, what have you. But the meat of this is about self-development, what have you. But it was my way of giving back to the community. It is my way of saying, you know what, I'm going to meet up with some people and they're going to spread out gems. Because, a lot of times I look up and I see a lot of our youth, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, carrying guns, killing one another and stuff like that. And it goes back to that initial question, what do you see in the mirror? Right. And a lot of it, I see myself, in that same situation, in that same environment, and trying to find a way out, or what have you, or being misguided, or miseducated.
Miseducated.
As you said,
So you got to be realistic, man. Like I think Lauryn Hill had one of the coldest quotes of all time. She said, "Fantasy is what people want, but reality is what people need," and that's the truth, man. Like I tell these dudes all the time, this North Carolina Central is a beautiful place with a lot of amazing young women that's attracted to you, but that attraction kind of strays away when you don't have that sweatsuit on and that ball stop bouncing for you.
Right.
It ain't as easy to talk to that young lady. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And this is the ultimate reality that's going to await you. When your eligibility is up, you can't go in the cafeteria and swipe your ID and eat for free anymore. Right. So y'all so entitled with the DoorDash and this restaurant and that restaurant that you don't even appreciate a good meal right before your eyes because now you've gotten a little bougie. But the worst meal that you'll ever eat is the one that you can't afford. You know what I'm saying? So it's things like that where you just giving them these nuggets so that you can prepare them to become future husbands and leaders and just men of character, men of integrity, man. That not meaning you're not gonna make any mistakes in life, because we all do that. But man, I saw a list the other day and I was like, it's getting more and more difficult for these youth now because of social media, because of Instagram, the constant comparison and looking at this dude, that dude, and thinking,
what do we do? Like, these kids is like out of high school and they 16, but in their mind they 50 or 60, and then sometimes we got 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds who's 13 and 15.
You know what social media is doing? Social media is having our young people act like adults, having our adults act like young people. So if you look at social media, that's all it is, right? But the common denominator in this social media thing, to your point, is, and I tell people this all the time, like marijuana, crack, cocaine, fentanyl, meth, all of those are drugs you should definitely stay away from. But the most powerful drug in our society right now is attention. Everybody has the desire to wake up and get a dopamine hit by going on social media saying, it's like the show and tell in kindergarten. Hey, y'all, look at me and do this. Right? And so, man, I can go on and on. It's like nobody's broke on social media. Everybody rich. Ain't no recession. You know what I'm saying? And so nobody's posting what and who they truly are. And myself included, we're all lying to ourselves. And it's a dangerous, dangerous place because nobody posts their first picture. No, retake that. I don't like how that look. And then you put the filter though. So you're not even comfortable. It goes back to what I said. You have to be comfortable in your own skin and become your own biggest cheerleader, right? I realized, look, man, if they took Instagram away tomorrow, I'm good because I ain't brought up with it anyway. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
So what age that you say for you personally, because I know everybody's different, was that wake up or that, you know what, I'm okay with,
I've always been like that, man. I've always been the dude that marched to the beat of his own drum and always been a loner, kind of an extrovert. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just believed in me. I ain't never smoked and never drank in my life. Not judging anyone that did, but that's just me. I mean, better than nobody or worse. It's just a lot of smoking and drinking come from peer pressure. I just always marched to the beat of my own drum because I was comfortable in my own skin. And either you accepted it or you didn't. And I was comfortable with that because I come from a place where I wasn't accepted at a young age anyway. So if you walk away, that's fine with me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the projects teaches you. But not only is it difficult for these young people, it's difficult for me as a parent because it's my first time and our first time as parents in this generation parenting kids that has social media.
Yeah.
Right? And so I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son, and it's a challenge every single day for them to come home and not grab their games or not compare themselves to someone beside, right? Yeah. Especially with a young girl. I got a 16-year-old girl, right? Girls, what I've learned is that girls care about their friend group. Like, they really care about what other people think. And I'm like, whoa, I got to be a better father because, no, baby, you don't need makeup at 16, right? You don't need but 2 or 3 friends in your life because when you're 50, that's all you really going to have anyway. Right. So it ain't the quantity of friends that you have, it's the quality. These are the lessons that not only these youth have to learn, that I have to learn as a parent as well. And so it's challenging because it's kind of like the pandemic. When it hit, nobody knew anything because nobody had any experience on going through a pandemic before, right? So nobody could tell you about social media. Grandma can't tell you about social media because they ain't have social media then. So now you just experiencing it firsthand and you realizing, man, this stuff can be double if you allow, right? Because we're addicted. If you scroll on your phone and it'll show you the amount of time you spend in your day on social media, man, you'll be amazed. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't doing nothing but just wasting time because when you're not posting, just scrolling, just looking, just posting, scrolling, looking, posting, scrolling, looking. Then when you're tired of that app, you go to another. And then before you know it, you done spent 7 hours a day on social media, right? And so we're draining ourselves. You're seeing more people stressed. You're seeing more anxiety. You're seeing more mental health issues. And I think a lot of that has to do with the comparison to yourself to someone else, right? If you ain't never see what they were doing, it's like track. You got to run your own race and stay in your own lane, right? You start looking to your left and looking to your right, man, like you get knocked off your square. What God has for you, he has for you. No man can block that. No woman can block that, right? But those are lessons that we have to learn. And sometimes sitting here saying it is one thing, but, it's the application of those lessons that we got to learn also.
Okay. I'm not gonna keep you long.
No, man.
No, you did. But what would you tell your younger self if you could speak to him?
Ooh, man, that's so much because I'm in therapy with that younger self, right now because I never addressed some of the issues. But I would tell my younger self, thank you for being you so that I could be me. Because my younger self, he's the one who allowed me to be in this position. So he wasn't perfect by any means. He was hurt. He had severe trauma. He had severe anxiety, but he believed in God. He had an incredible mother, incredible grandmother who supported him and loved him, and he worked his butt off. So what he did set the stage for me to be in this chair now. So I guess the message I would tell my younger self is thank you. Thank you for being you so that I could be me.
And when you say that, the first thing come to my mind is your son.
Yeah. And
So when you speak it to your son, you get thanking your younger self.
it's crazy, man. Like we talked about the power of manifestation, and you putting the stickies on your wall and me putting the stickies on my wall in the notes. That's biblical. That's Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, make it plain. And we do that. Like, I'm from an era where we put posters on the wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And me and my man, when we were kids, we would put page 43 of Jet Magazine on the wall.
Yeah.
Like the beauty of the week, because we were manifesting. Man, I can go get beauty of the week. You know what I'm saying? Man, my bedroom wall had Thelma from Good Times on it. You follow what I'm saying? And first thing I do when I become an adult, the first person I meet is them.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I was tongue tied seeing my girl. But that was my first girlfriend in my mind. I manifested that woman in my life. You follow what I'm saying? And so I had all the Jordan posters and things of that nature on there. So I manifested, I knew at a young age I would have a son and a daughter. And I knew my son would be named Levelle Moton Jr. because I wanted to give him a name, right? Because where I was from, the name Moton didn't mean anything. And I noticed at a young age there, like,
That's the
yeah, man, we fight and go crazy over all this product and merchandise, but you just look around America, all you're seeing is just, they call it brands, but it's just last names.
yeah.
Jordan,
Yeah.
you know, uh, Ben and Jerry's and Maybach and Rolls Royce, Ford, like all of these companies are just last names,
Yeah.
right? All these designer clothes, they're just Gucci, like Ralph Lauren, they're just last names.
I saw the little kid. He had been like maybe 11 or 12 years old, and I said, "What kind of shoes you got on?" He said, "Nike." I said, "What kind of pants you got on?" He said, "Da da da da." He said, "I said, what kind of shirt you got on?" He said, Jordan or whatever." Because maybe I said, "Now, why your name can't be out there?" It's like something names, but it's hard for somebody that young to like really.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
You have to have, man, I was fortunate. I ain't gonna sit here and like I was holier than thou and saw some stuff other people. Man, I had a praying grandmother, and I know I'm a product of that, right? I know I'm a product of that, man, because she kept me. She asked God to watch over me. God rest her soul. And like I hate to say it, but people ask me all the time, did you know you were gonna be successful? And my answer is yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I put in the work.
I carried a Jordan box shoe, and I wrote all the goals we was talking about. I had it in a golden, in a silver Jordan box shoe, walking through the hood, saying I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
You know,
You gotta see it and you gotta be it before it actually manifests and come true, man. And that's a powerful, powerful message, man. Like it's the power of the tongue. All of it, if you look at it, all of it's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? All of it's biblical or whatever religion you choose to be. Like it's there. Like I respect everyone's religion.
Yeah.
But whatever book is associated with that religion, it's somewhere in there, right? Because it's the land of the law. You manifest that stuff. It's the power of the tongue, right? That's why it's important to say what you mean and mean what you say. We've seen rappers that literally went out here and kind of put the death cloud over their head. And in a couple of months, they were gone. You know what I'm saying? Then we've seen rappers come out here and say, man, I remember Tip was saying, I'm the king of the South. I'm the king of the South. Yeah, king of the South. Cash Money was saying, man, I'm a cash money millionaire.
Yeah.
Became cash money millionaire. So it's the power of the tongue, man. I'm a firm believer of that. Firm believer.
So what do you say to your future self? 70s, 80s, 90s, to the person you are now? No, actually, no. The person, what do you say to your future self? To that guy?
I would say,
based off of where you are from now. So 40 years from now, what do you say to yourself?
You got a lot to accomplish, but nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Right? Success, that definition has changed from now that I'm here because I just wanted to retire my mom. Like I didn't have a long list of, man, I just saw my mom working her butt off every day, and that destroyed me inside as a kid. And I was like, nah, you ain't gonna be doing this. Like I told her at 12 years old, I'm gonna retire. That's the greatest gift that I've ever received, is being able to retire her. And so now I have to create generational wealth and continue to build and add on to my legacy, right? My legacy is just planting seeds of trees that you'll never see grow, right? So that's what legacy was, right? You just plant weed seeds, growing them out. Yeah, right? You gotta, oh my God. You just plant it, you gotta water, fertilizer, do everything, but it's planting those seeds of trees that you ain't gonna never see grow. And that's the importance of the children, leaving them something.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody talk about generational wealth, And when they talk about it, they speak of it in the monetary sense, like money. That's cool. But also, generational wealth is the respect that's attached to your last name that they can leverage into better opportunities for themselves, right? And so I intentionally named my son Levelle Moton Jr. And my wife didn't. She was like, "Is that going to be too much pressure on him?" I'm like, "It's going to be pressure on him anyway." So he might well say Levelle Moton Jr. But my job is to create a name for him and my daughter to be able to walk into a classroom and they get the perks and benefits of this now to say, "You Levelle Moton? Oh, come on, because." Okay, come on, I got you because he helps so many people or whatever it may be. Oh, you Levelle Moton's daughter? Okay, come on, I got a job for you because he supplied 300 jobs for this community. You know what I'm saying? So like those are the things that I'm more interested in. I bought everything I wanted to buy, right? It's only you can't drive but one car, right? And I'm too cheap to drive the most expensive one anyway. I don't wear jewelry, so all of those things are way beyond me. It's just a matter of continuing to invest and create generational wealth, whether monetarily and socially, for my family.
So when you're in your 80s and your 90s and you that grandfather, that old man, two-part, what did you look back on and what would you tell the other two versions of yourself?
Man, I God willing, I hope to look back and say that I maximize my gift. I think one of the most disrespectful things a human being can do is waste a gift that God has given.
Mhm.
You know, my grandmother always told me, the two most important days of your life is the day that you were born and the day you figure out why.
Yeah,
A lot of people go through life and not understand why.
yeah.
I know why I'm here, and it's to help empower and amplify and enhance the lives of people that come from similar situations and backgrounds of where I come from.
Right.
And I hope at 80 years old, I done that uh, and maximize that gift so I could at least have a conversation with God and say, "Yep, man, I tried. I took this and not only did I use it for myself, but I multiplied it and I extended it to people that was my neighbors and people that I did with." And I think that's the ultimate gift of life. That's the story of Jesus.
Those will see.
Right. Those seeds, like it's just helping people you don't even know it. Right. I got a foundation that helps so many people. It helps children, it helps you, helps mothers, helps fathers, helps grandmothers, everyone involved, man. So that's the biggest thing. And then I would like to look back and reflect and at these other two versions of myself, the me middle-aged man and the young man.
That's me.
Is just salute them.
Yeah.
And say I'm proud of you. And also say thank you for being you
Yeah.
so that I could be me. Right? So you tell that to your younger self, you tell that to your middle self, because that's the daily challenge of life. Just a constant need and desire to get better and help others because
Was that 30 to 50 scary for you?
oh, it was extremely scary. And to be honest with you,
How you cope with it?
you just pray.
That's what I struggle with.
You just pray.
You know,
I think
Yeah.
how old are you?
42.
Okay, so you're a young man. Every man lives his 30s making up for the mistakes that he made in his 20s. So it's almost like we always 10 years behind.
Yeah.
That's why we need incredible women by our side. That's why we need incredible women in our life, right? Because the right woman would take a pauper and make him a king. The wrong woman would take a king and make him a pauper, right? So, and it's not only on the significant other state. My two best friends are women. Shout out to Shannon and Tars. Like, they're absolutely incredible. We've been best friends for 38 years, man. And so these women, it's interesting because they were beautiful kids when we were younger. They were the it girls. Everybody in Raleigh liked them. But they were going through their own thing where they wasn't accepted. I was going through my own thing where I wasn't accepted, and those worlds just married because it was like, hey, come over here, and like, so they got to know me beyond the surface. I got to know them beyond the surface, and I never seen two women so happy for me, right? Like men, they kind of resent you because we're so filled with testosterone that it's a desire to be the man, right? So even like somebody asked me this one day. I'll tell you this. They said, "Man, name your 5 favorite movies of all time." And I told them New Jack City, The Godfather, Casino, um, Juice, and The Five Heartbeats. They said, "Man, you just named 5 movies where a man betrayed another man." So I'm like, oh, right. Like crackers is that, right? So we've normalized that behavior so much that we search for it in the form of entertainment
Without even knowing.
not even subconscious. It was a part about it. So I'm just like, man, you a man, surround yourself with women, right? Because even Jesus was betrayed, but it wasn't a lot of betrayal from women. You know what I'm saying? It was Judas and Peter and all them disciples were some dudes that was just hating. You know what I'm saying? And so I learned that lesson early, man. So just surrounding myself with women, shout out to my wife. I met her later on in my life, man, and she's been unreal and outstanding as well. So I just surrounded myself with women because they genuinely want to see me win. When I accomplish something, they're showing up crying. My homeboys ain't crying. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a part of them that always want to be you, right? And I respect it and I understand it. But, those are just some of the little nuggets and life lessons that I've learned that I tried to apply.
Well, I'm not gonna hold you on, Coach. Like I said again, this platform is just all about development, and I really hope I can send as much as I can, or what have you, as I grow or what have you. And I definitely wanted to come across. I was super excited along the way till we got to this point or what have you, because I already know the type of person you are. So the name of this episode is gonna be "The Man Behind the Cape." All that stuff, because it's representing those phases that I mentioned in the conversation. It represents your you, which is in the projects or whatever. It represents the middle of you, where we're at right now, and it represents the grandfather of you, in that season. So it's that man that carried all those things all in one.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you for thinking enough of me. That's something I don't take for granted, man. And I love interviews such as this because it goes beyond the surface of basketball, and this is really something that the world needs, right? Because in this podcast era, we just need to be able to look and extract because there's so much silliness going on in the form of entertainment on this internet where we're bashing them and the women bashing us and it's a gender war and not like we don't need that, man. We need positivity for us to all come together and restore our families. And now that's the only way you're going to be able to restore our community is to restore these families, right? But as long as we at odds with our queens, it ain't gonna never work.
So lastly, I like to see, what kind of gym you would give me as a young man, at the age I'm at right now, just basically trying to catch my hand on everything where these different gifts I have or what have you, and really get I hate using levels, but get into that next the next level phase of my life.
Yeah, I would say this.
Coming from what I came from.
Yeah. I would say this, man. Like coming from where you come from, you've already won.
Yeah.
Obviously, achieve and seek more, but understand that what God has for you is for you. Don't compare yourself to others who may be doing a podcast and moving at a faster rate or whatever, because I think, comparison is the thief of joy. I just think, if we mentioned about, I just noticed you was doing this, which means multiple things. And I think as men, myself included, we just get caught up into so many of that that we forget to just focus on that, right? And so that's where that list can come in at, to say, I'm gonna accomplish this first, right? Then I'm gonna accomplish this. I'm gonna accomplish this. Think about it like you're trying to lose weight. And say you 25 pounds overweight. Well, a lot of people can't get to their destination because they do the work, then go step on the scale, and the scale ain't move. But they do the work for 2 weeks and they step on the scale, and the scale only went down 2 pounds. Then before you know it, they eating honey buns and they like, man, forget it. But if you just say, I'm gonna lose a pound a week, that just sounds so much better and more easily attainable. Right? So that's how you have to move as a man. That's how I have to move as a man, not put too much on my plate, because you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none, right? And so you can try to catch so many rabbits that you end up not catching any, right? Just if we dropped off some rabbits, just try to go get one, right? Everybody trying to gather and all this, now they done ran through your arms and it's a wrap. That's the hamster wheel that we get caught up in. Right. And so do it for internal satisfaction, because that next level, what you'll soon realize is that there's always a next level. Right. It's no finish line to quote unquote success. So you got to define success for yourself, because as men, we define it house, cars, money. Our life don't begin until our money is right. And it's hard. It's hard, man. Like, it's hard. I saw a list of everything, bro. Like, this said, our life don't. A man's life don't begin until his money is right.
His money is right.
Right? Like, I tell my homegirls that all the time. They be like, oh, hook me up with a man. They looking for me. Look, man, it doesn't matter how great of a woman you are.
Yeah.
When you meet this man, if his money ain't right, you ain't going to get the best version of him.
All right.
Right? Like, that's just a fact of the matter. Again, we live our 30s making up for the mistakes we made in our 20s.
Correct.
We live our 40s making up for the mistakes we made in our 30s. Correct. And then it goes, so it's almost like we're always 10 years behind because society keep us behind.
Right.
That's the challenge of a man that we don't really get to express.
Right.
That's the challenge of a man we're not even allowed to express, because this world don't try to shame us for even saying, number one, how we feel. Yeah. And now this world don't even respect and value a working man no more. When I grew up, James Evans was the man, right? He had a job, right? Man, I just looked at a list not too long ago where women was like, no dude can't even take me to the Cheesecake Factory. Like, they had a list of restaurants you can't even take like, what? And so what do, like, forget how you feel about the list. What do dudes automatically do? They go into Superman mode and like, man, I got to get my bread right now. We got to go to Ruth's Chris, or you got to spend $400 on the first date in a dude's mind. And that's not true, but it's this fictitious list that came out there, and that kind of planted a seed in our mind, and now we're always seeking and searching, and we can't even appreciate where we are. Yeah. And when we can't appreciate where we are, a woman or whoever else will never appreciate where you are. So it's important to walk in your own skin, man, and just be comfortable and be validated within yourself, and have your goals, but not one thing out at a time. Because you try to go here, you ain't gonna never accomplish anything. And years go by. Like, when you get 40, tomorrow you're 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how, I only remember 42. It was 8 years ago. Yeah. But that's how fast it moves, right? Because it's almost like life is accelerated once you get 40. So, man, just keep God first, bro. Say your prayers every day. Surround yourself with good people, and create your boundaries, and you'll be fine.
Appreciate it.
Love it. That's right. My God, appreciate it. Appreciate you out.
We just got through doing the episode for Coach Moton. At the beginning, I was super nervous. I mean, come on. Y'all see on this? Oh my God. So I was a little nervous at first, but then I, put that iPad down, came into my own, and we did it. See you next episode, y'all.
Go.